Whoa, what the hell are you doing? Are you watching him take a bath? You're disgusting! Your mother is going to be very disappointed in you. I'm joking, of course. She couldn't be any more disappointed in you already. How's it hanging, folks? It's your Rat Daddy here, and today I bring you episode 2 of our RimWorld Continental Army series. You guys really seem to enjoy the very first episode, so I figured, what the hell, let's make it to a series. Now, one of the first big issues that we're going to be tackling today is hunger. With an army of this size, starvation is not only possible, but it is inevitable. If we don't get our lazy asses out there and start hunting some wild game, that is. These animals will feed our hungry tummies. Let's see, deer, squirrels, yes. What's this? Oh, it's a little bullfrog. That's pretty cool, I guess. The local wildlife of this territory wouldn't know what hit them when the old red, white, and blue came out muskets blazing. Actually, they did, because these muskets were smoothbore, and so we took about 6 or 7 shots before we actually hit them. We would then heavily focus on our defenses because massive raids are inevitable as well. Even as we speak, the powers that be on this planet are plotting our demise second by second, and we would need to be ready when they come. But being able to properly protect ourselves means we're gonna need plenty of resources like steel. So we decided to mine out a whole heaping shit ton of it, and then we immediately built a whole bunch of shitters right on top of it. It seemed like a fitting place for all of our new latrines. We then began working on some packed dirt around the entrance of our base to ensure that vegetation doesn't become an issue during battle. And then we would begin working on some metal death machines. That's right, baby. We made cannons. We ended up only building 4 of them. For now, we may end up adding some additional, or we may research better cannon technology before doing so. But regardless, as for now, we're going to need some ammunition for these fine cannons, so we began working on some cannonballs, just the standard issue ones for now. We're not gonna get too fancy. Luckily, the standard cannonball was fairly cheap and easy to make, so we started crafting a whole heaping ton of them, but then we ended up having some more visitors. It was the French. Oh, mon ami, and it would appear that they were here to trade with us. There's nothing we love more than buying some goods from our French allies, except maybe buying some land from them. But regardless of actual history, what's going on right now is we bought plenty of fuel from the French, that way we can make some flaming cannon rounds. These rounds, of course, would not only shred the limbs of our enemies, but they will also light them on fire, which is a nice touch. But speaking of our enemies, how are they going to come across the river so easily to be defeated by us if they don't have any bridges? So we began working on them. Just as well, of course, we would also like to walk across them, because apparently our men are too good to wade through the alligator-infested waters. Oh, boo-hoo. Oh, shit. It would appear that we have a raid from tribes people. I'm sure it's nothing we can't. Oh, that's a lot of tribes people. Well, our boys in blue are going to give them hell regardless. If we die here at Rats Valley, so be it. At least we'll die free American men. The tribespeople immediately began booking it towards the entrance of our fortress, and our men immediately began giving them hell with their muskets. Credit where credit is due, the tribespeople fought fiercely, and they were very brave. They just couldn't handle a massive cannonball hitting them in the sternum. But what they lacked in cannonball resilience, they made up for in sheer numbers, as well as balls. Balls of steel, or bronze, one might even say. Except for the ladies, they didn't have any balls. But by God Almighty, they fought like they did. As the tribespeople continued their massive push towards the entrance of our fortress, we were actually forced to make a strategic retreat. If they wanted to kill us, they would have to kill us inside our own home, where we had the advantage. They busted our walls wide open and began flooding into our base. Luckily for us, though, not only were we in here with our men, but the French were here as well, and they were helping us defend ourselves. And thankfully, with the help of our allies, we had managed to kill enough of the tribespeople that they began to flee. We had finally done it. We had fought off the largest raid yet, but there would be much larger and many more to come, I'm sure. Unfortunately, though, as they fled, they would kidnap a few of our men along the way. Unfortunately, we would not be fast enough to stop them from stealing our brethren. Just as well, we had also lost a soldier or two during the battle itself as well, but their sacrifices would not be in vain. But the sacrifices of the tribespeople would go in vain, for what had they even accomplished here today? They got the majority of their forces butchered, and yet they gained no footing in our fortress or in our territory. Okay, sure, they kidnapped a few of of our men and killed a few more of them, but we killed way more of them, and we're also going to kidnap a few of their people to try and recruit them. So I suppose you could say that we're even Steven, as it were. From the entire raiding force, there were only 2 people that we could actually take captive because, well, everyone else was pretty much dead. That was quite alright, though. We would train them to be the best damn fighters they could be. They would equal 10 men. The remaining tribal soldiers that lie on the ground, injured, begging for help, well, we kind of executed them. Okay, look, I know that sounds kind of bad, but for God's sake, it's the 18th century. Nobody cares. We're all ruthless, horrible people that are going to die when we turn 40. Kinda like the 21st century. But with the cleanup of the battle somewhat completed, it was time for us to bury our dead. God rest ye, merry gentlemen, for ye will be remembered as American heroes. And I must say, one of my favorite things about having a massive army of pawns like this is when you have a massive battle or anything like that and it needs done, any building or cleanup or anything, it does not take very long for them to get that done. But I also must say that one of my least favorite thing about having this many pawns is how often they're having mental breaks or on the verge of having mental breaks. Although that became the least of our concerns when I realized one of our soldiers named Delmain had an infection in his torso. It would appear that the poor fool had been hit directly in the chest by a shit-covered arrow from one of the tribe's people. Damn those tribes people and their feces-covered weaponry. Those bloody geniuses. Speaking of which, one of our tribal prisoners named Beardy got a bit of a wild hair and tried to escape his makeshift prison. Needless to say that he won't be doing that ever again. After shooting him down, we scooped him up out of the blood and the dirt. We tossed him back into his beautiful little cell. And with the immediate threat neutralized for the moment, we decided to begin digging out a massive section of the hill. Now you may be asking yourself, Rat Knight, what could you possibly be wanting to build within this hill? Well, my friends, I plan on building the most beautiful, the most luxuriously wonderful bathhouse this side of the Mississippi. Our men have worked their asses off. They've worked them off so hard that they're extremely smelly and sweaty, and we don't have enough bathtubs to keep them all washed, which is also one of the leading causes of all the mental breaks that they're experiencing. We would also build a large, luxurious cottage chimney to keep the place nice and warm. I like to imagine it as a bathhouse slash sauna kind of thing. And our men seemed to feel the same way. They wasted no time rushing in and stripping down stark naked with each other. Oh boys, dear God, please do behave, you little rascals. Sometime later, our men discovered a wild, angry animal that we had never seen in these lands before. Regardless of what it was though, we would shoot it down and then take it back home to butcher it. Back home, we had also decided that it was probably about high time we started on some stone production, so we were building some pallets to store all the stone on, and we also built a stone cutting table. Our men would also begin working diligently on making this place a better home for themselves, and we began doing so by improving on the barracks. We began building each soldier a dresser, an end table, and some rugs in their rooms. It wasn't exactly perfect, but it was a little bit better. And just when I thought the good news wouldn't stop, we ended up recruiting one of the tribe's people named Kanzaki. Kanzaki here would actually be the very first member of our militia. We weren't going to force her to wear any certain uniform or equip any type of weapon. Being in the militia, as long as she fights alongside us, we don't really care. However, we had so many of the Brown Bess muskets, it was kind of a no-brainer. And just like that, folks, we had our very first militiaman, the first of many to come, of course, we do hope. There are plenty of enemies out there for us to recruit, and we have plenty of prisoners in ourselves currently as well, so we should have plenty of opportunities to make more militiamen. Because if there's one thing we Americans love, it's opportunities, and second chances are always the best opportunities. An opportunity to redeem oneself. Now with all the hippy-dippy, lovey-dovey shit out of the way, though, it's time for us to begin expanding our fortress west. We would begin building our base out a little bit further near this small lake. We would of course begin sucking up more land as we went along, and the reason we're doing that is to free up more farming space to feed our ever-growing army. Because when winter comes along, we're going to have quite a bit less wildlife in the area, and that's not going to be a sustainable food source. So of course we're going to ensure that we put enough vegetables and whatnot back for winter, but also we began building some fishing piers as well. This will put fish in our bellies, and to the best of my knowledge, you can also do this during the winter time as well. And I mean, come on, look how happy he looks out there on that pier fishing. Oh, well, it appears he didn't catch anything. everything. That's alright, Slugger, we'll get them next time. But my friends, with all that being said and done, we are winding down to the end of the episode here. I apologize that it's not a very long episode, but I kind of rushed to get this episode out, unfortunately. With the 4th of July coming up and whatnot, it's actually tomorrow at the time of me recording this. I'm trying to get it done so I can give you guys something to watch, but also spend some time with the family and just have a damn vacation for one day. And of course, I would like to wish all of you one big happy 4th of July if you celebrate, and if you don't celebrate, that's okay. I won't hold it against you. Happy 4th of July to you as well. And of course, I'd like to thank you guys all for watching, and be sure with this new series, if there's something you'd like to see in the series, any mods you'd like for me to take into consideration to adding to the series, things like that, be sure to leave a comment down below. Make sure you like the video and all that great stuff while you're down there as well, but be sure to let me know what you guys would like to see and what your thoughts are on the series and whatnot. The next episode in the series is already pre-recorded, though I haven't narrated at the time of saying this, of course, but I try not to do them pre-recorded ahead of time. I try not to batch record and that whatnot, that way I can get your guys' feedback and stuff like that. So yeah, if you guys have any feedback or any suggestions or anything, be sure to leave that in the comment section down below. But I love you guys ever so much. Happy 4th of July once again. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.